garbage I see floating out there is just supporters.
I want to go in a different direction because there have been so many changes in New Jersey over the last few
Oh, man,
years.
you're not kidding.
New Jersey's been notoriously bad in terms of firearms laws since I was a kid. As was New York. We didn't talk about New York, but being born and raised in Brooklyn and Staten Island, I didn't know a single legal gun owner until I got to college out in Oklahoma. But Jersey was always known to be just as bad as New York, essentially. But over the last couple of years, with Bruin, there have been so many changes. For something that was so positive with Bruin, making it possible for people to get what you call a permit to carry here, there have been a lot of legislative changes that potentially put people at severe risk if they choose to exercise their rights, right? Pretend that I was in a coma for the last couple of years since Bruin. What are the changes that have happened in New Jersey since then?
What has happened is the hissy fit kicking and screaming by the progressive left gun rights oppressionists that have an agenda that's funded by Bloomturd and Soros monies and all to disarm us and take away our rights. And it's all that coming together so that their playbook is double down. Yeah, we know what the Supreme Court said. And now we're going to double down on even more oppression. We're going to double down on even more gun rights. And that's what New Jersey has done. So New Jersey is responding to the proclamation of freedom given in Bruin with taking away more freedom. It's just the classic Democrat, frankly, double down play when they're upset over an outcome because their agenda is there and it's not, and it's now in jeopardy.
So what are some of those legislative changes?
Well, in New Jersey, they passed the carry killer bill, which is all the sensitive places, all the egregious restrictions, all the matrix of things you have to do and know in order to carry, including making carry more dangerous and then putting it under the Orwellian label of safe carry. For example, by having all these so-called sensitive places, if you pull up to a sensitive place, you're not allowed to walk in, like, let's say, an entertainment venue. Well, the law allows you, you see, to take your gun and unload it and store it in your vehicle in a case. And therefore, you can't go in the sensitive place, but you can just have your gun locked up, unloaded in the container properly under safe carry. But what does so-called safe carry do? It forces every person to load and unload their gun continuously instead of it just being safely in the holster. So they want to increase the opportunity for accidental discharge as you're trying to somehow manipulate your firearm in a cramped passenger or driver compartment of a car. So it's stupid things like that plugged in to create all kinds of problems. And then on top of it, they don't educate law enforcement about the case law changes. So law enforcement doesn't even know what's legal or illegal. And I've had these cases. So for instance, one of the things in safe carry was you cannot have your loaded firearm on your person in a vehicle, in a motor vehicle. That's actually one of the laws in safe carry. So we called that section of the law the Carjacker Protection Bill. However, the Carjacker Protection Law was found unconstitutional in federal court by Judge Bum in the litigation brought by the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs. They're the NRA affiliate, the umbrella organization of gun clubs with Scott Bach and Kathy Chardon. Great people, and the whole board and everybody that's a participant there. And my good friend and colleague and ours, Dan Schmutter, great guy, great Second Amendment attorney.
Great guy.
Who brought the challenge and won on many different things, and we're still fighting on the other issues, but won on that law so that, no, you are allowed. That's enjoined. It has an injunction. You may, in fact, carry your gun loaded on your person with, if you have a carry permit, in your car. But I've had a number of folks stopped by police where they then, the gun owner, obeys the other law about duty to disclose, which says if you're stopped or detained by police, you must immediately tell them you're carrying a firearm and produce your permit. Failure to do that, felony level offense, by the way, another felony. Doing that, and then the officer say, oh, you're carrying your gun loaded in the car, you're not allowed to do that. And it's like, yes, I am. But they're not trained. The Attorney General didn't send out a bulletin about the case law determination, educating these law enforcement. So we're seeing false arrests, false police activity, where not only are they wrongly going after the gun owner, but then even the police officer is now going to have subject to possible civil lawsuit over not following the law that they're not trained in knowing, because the Attorney General isn't saying about, hey, no, this law is no good anymore. So we have multiple instances of that as well. Hey, Evan Nappen here. I just want to tell you, if you want to buy my book, New Jersey Gun Law, the Bible of New Jersey Gun Law, go to evannappen.com. You see the big orange book right there? Just click it. You can have your copy in a matter of days. It's over 500 pages, over 120 topics, all question and answer, easy to use. Make sure when you get it, you scan that QR code and join the subscriber base, which is free and private, and you'll get all the updates and stay current and be able to protect your rights. They've also passed and enhanced by creating the most insane draconian penalties on various gun laws. So they banned guns with no serial number. So-called
What about 368?
Ghost guns. Ooh, scary.
What about
ghost
368?
guns. They didn't exempt for 368. They didn't do any of the. So it just became a nightmare. Now, working with the association, we were able to get the Attorney General to, by way of an opinion, to make it clear that it's only supposed to apply to those that are, 3D printed or made on a milling machine or whatever.
Which is still stupid.
But it's still stupid. But guess what? They just raised that law to a crime of the first degree. Now, you got to understand, first degree is the same level of offense for murder in New Jersey. They've now made a simple gun possessory law the equivalent of murder. The only next little nudge they got to do is make it the death penalty. Make it capital, death penalty. Now, I know that normally the liberal left there, they don't want death penalty. But I'm sure when it comes to gun owners, they'll make an exception. I honestly believe we'll see a gun law death penalty, and it'll probably be in New Jersey where it happens.
That's something else. And you're serious about this.
Serious, 100%. Why not? If I told you they would make a simple gun possession law the same level of offense as murder for just simply possessing this, not doing anything bad with it.
Right.
You'd say, oh, that's crazy. Why would they do that? Well, they have. And so it's just, all they have to do is change the penalty on it from decades in prison to death penalty.
Do you think that in places like Jersey, places like New York, and even with the federal laws that we see, they've boiled the frog to some degree, where they take a little bit,
sure.
and people acclimated to that particular kind of law, and then they take a little bit more. And this is why you're saying that maybe the death penalty is not such a stretch, because once people get used to it being a crime of the first degree, it's just that one little jump to the death
Boiling
penalty.
a frog or salami tactics of taking, and it's another specialty that those that are oppressors use. And they've definitely done that here. But also, the way politics works is if you make too radical a sudden change, then you get a reaction that can cause it to be knocked out. So they know if they do it slow, it just remains and keeps going. And yet we have to know, as those supporting freedom and rights and fighting for liberty, that we're going to gain our rights back incrementally. And that's what we're doing. So we cannot, in our fight, make perfect the enemy of good. So if we can get some things done that are positive, that's good.
Thanks for tuning in to The Garbage Gang. If you want to be a member of The Garbage Gang, we need you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, check out one of the recommended videos. We'll see you next time.